So the question is, can we avoid a full knee replacement surgery? So I've seen multiple cases, many cases at this point, of people headed for a full knee replacement, and I've been able to save most of them, or at least significantly delay, that fairly extreme intervention. Now, what symptoms are typical of these people I'm able to save? They tend to have medial knee pain, MCL or pes anserine. Those are quite common locations for pain. And note, locations of pain, and if I push and that's where the pain is, that's not osteoarthritis pain. Those are the MCL is the structure that's commonly injured, and the pes anserine commonly has tendinosis, right? Pain actually has a poor correlation with osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is not pain. Worse osteoarthritis doesn't mean worse pain. The pain is often from the other things around the osteoarthritis. Back to symptoms. Sometimes they have lateral knee pain, pain on the outside of the knee. It's coming basically down from the hip. So they have sometimes pain in the lateral quads, sometimes pain deep to the hip or on the outside of the hip. And, IT band type pattern pain. And they sometimes have clicking knees. And of course, they've often been diagnosed with knee osteoarthritis and sometimes hip osteoarthritis, and they come in with their x-rays and say, look at this, and I see the report, and sure, it's grade 2, grade 3, whatever. Because as I've mentioned, osteoarthritis doesn't correlate that well with pain. You can have a lot of osteoarthritis and a little bit of pain, and mild osteoarthritis and a lot of pain. The pain isn't from the bones. It's not from the osteophytes. It's not from cartilage thinning. It's from the other structures around the knee. Now, first, I check some of the muscles and the structures with palpation, often the TFL and the vastus lateralis. They're tender and hypertrophied. Basically, they're bigger than they should be. Often the glute medius and vastus medialis are atrophied. They're smaller than they should be. If there is a clicking sound or a clicking sensation or discomfort, let's say getting up from sitting, I will often push the patella towards the medial side, towards the inside as they get up, to see if that gets rid of the click and gets rid of their discomfort. Because the vastus medialis is the muscle that pulls the kneecap, pulls the patella inwards. So if that's not firing, then the kneecap isn't tracking straight. So if I can push the kneecap in the center, the patella in the center, and their symptoms disappear, then I can give them great news right away. Hey, look, there's a lot of potential for improvement here, just by retraining the muscles. Now, more recently, I've been using ultrasound fairly regularly to scan the knee to sort of also support recommending a care plan, recommending treatment, recommending exercises, to really try to convince them to join the plan, and of course, to further guide treatment. Now, often the medial condyle, the inside condyle, it does tend to wear out first. But often this asymmetrical wear, particularly in this pattern of symptoms, tends to be pretty extreme, with a relatively normal lateral condyle, and then like a stage 2, stage 3 osteoarthritis, big osteophytes, protrusion of the meniscus, no cartilage left on the medial side. Now, at this stage, if I see something like this, I could inform them of the option of a partial knee replacement. And this is becoming more and more commonplace. They are often preferable to a complete replacement. But I don't head there first. I only go there if my conservative treatment fails, which is so far, I think, about less than 10% of the time. So I like to give people hope. A lot of people, they go to the doctor, they get an x-ray, look, you have osteoarthritis, everything's worn out. Yeah, every time you move, it's going to be grinding. You're wearing away the bones. And now they think moving is painful, moving is bad for me, moving is damage. And now they have their fear avoidance of moving and of activities and exercise, which of course makes their whole health worse, makes all their tendons worse, tendinosis everywhere, muscle atrophy everywhere. They're losing mobility. Like it just heads them down this downward spiral. So I like to give them hope. Like you're 54 now, half your knee is 70 and half your knee is 30. You have one quad muscle pulling inwards and one pulling outwards. There's an imbalance. Your knee has been running crooked. If we can get your knee running on this good cartilage, on the good half of your knee could feel 30 again. Now, my most recent patient didn't have as much, of the hip issues, but had more instability of the knee. And frankly, I think she'd been constantly, tearing up that MCL. Because when I looked with imaging, the fibers were all disorganized, it was tender, and there was some laxity. So basically a grade 2 sprain. But I think this has been a history of sprain because of the crooked use of her knee. And of course, the pes anserine is very easily irritated. And the most common pain generator on the inside of the knee. And when I looked at it, the fibers were thickened and hypoechoic, so likely irritated, injured, degenerated. We could diagnose that as pes-anserine tendinosis. So of course, the most important treatment was rehab, rehab, rehab. And for the MCL and the pes-anserine, dry needling is very effective. And I combined that with laser, which doesn't have as much evidence as for the needles, but I like to do the combo. Why not? And she felt over 50% better after 1 week. And after 2.5 weeks, she no longer felt any knee pain with any of her activities of daily living. The last activity that had given her some problems was going downstairs, and that finally felt stronger, and it was stable, and it was pain-free. Now, treatment did continue for 2 more weeks to continue to strengthen and improve muscle coordination of the hips and knees. I had another case, the case before this, and normally I do 3 times a week because sometimes daily is just too much, and you don't really, even if you double the pace, you don't necessarily get better at double the speed. But this patient's like, no, I'm in a hurry. I want to get better now. Is there a chance of me getting better if I come every day? I'm like, yeah, probably. So she came every day, and after 6 days, 6 treatments, she said she felt 90% better. 90% better. And she had just basically dropped in for an assessment, and she'd been told she needs a knee replacement. So I hope if you're a patient, this gives you some ideas of some avenues to pursue in order to see if you truly do need that replacement or not. And if you're a practitioner, these are some things to think about, because often we just think osteoarthritis surgery. There's a lot of people out there, and the worse the arthritis, the more likely you need surgery. But particularly, handheld ultrasound, more doctors are getting these. I happen to teach it if you need some help, and it can really help guide management of your patients. Now, this video is actually sponsored by Neo ultrasound units. Now, any of my ultrasound units would be sufficient for what I discussed in today's video. And the L15-4 from Neo is no exception. No subscription, which is nice fast frame rate. It is a little lower on the resolution side, so I don't think if there was like a really fine cleft in the meniscus, I don't think this would catch it. But again, for the stuff I talked about in this video, this would be totally adequate. So for things like joint effusion, meniscus extrusion, you could tell if it was pushed out, synovitis, osteoarthritis, tendinosis, an MCL, major pathology, pes-anserine issue like the tendinosis. Anyways, cheers.